Good morning. So we are continuing with the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 3, Part 2, and we are in Chapter 17. We are talking about the victory of Hiranyaksha. This is a chapter. Yesterday we had completed till verse 18. So today we are going to continue from verse 19 onwards. So just a small recap. The two children are born, they are twins, they are born to Diti. And they have been named by their father and their grandfather as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashyap. They have been in the womb for more than 100 years, and by the time they come out, the whole world is in turmoil. There are lots of things going wrong in this world. There are earthquakes, there are volcanoes erupting, the waters have become muddy, the skies have become dirty, everything has gone for a toss. It is the oncoming of a very big calamity, and that is the reason why this kind of a portents are there in the sky as well as the earth. It's a common phenomena. When any big calamity strikes, this is what happens. So now we are going to continue from the next verse onwards, which is verse 19. So we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Part 2. This is Chapter 17, the victory of Hiranyaksha. And verse 19 onwards, the elder child, Hiranyakashyap, was unafraid of death from anyone within the three worlds, because he received a benediction from Lord Brahma. He was proud and puffed up due to the benediction and was able to bring out the three planetary systems under his control. Verse 20, his younger brother Hiranyaksha was always ready to satisfy the elder brother by his activities. Hiranyaksha took a club on his shoulder and travelled all over the universe with a fighting spirit just to satisfy Hiranyakashyap. Now here we are having the two demons. They have taken birth, and from childhood itself, like I told you, they have huge bodies. Now these demonic creatures, they have bodies which are beyond a normal human being structure. Their bodies have literally bones which are like steel-like. And they have a system which is completely different than a normal human being. Now, you may wonder whether this is normal or abnormal. I will tell you that this may sound very strange to our ears because we are Homo sapiens. We have an average height. Our body structure is very close to this particular normal. But if you were to go and search for information on these kind of creatures or this kind of species which were born on this planet Earth, you don't have to look far. You can go to any of the old ruins which are there in this world, whether they are there in Egypt, whether they are there in Europe, whether they are there in England, whether they are there in South America, North America, or whatever. You can actually see that there were people, there were these kind of creatures who were very, very massive creatures. If you go to the Khufu or the temple of Hathor, you will find images of massive giants on the walls. And there you will find that, like say for example, just now I was telling you the temple of Hathor. Now this Hathor temple has got 8 goddesses. Each of those goddesses are huge creatures. Now they were drawn over there, they are carved in stone, not just on the walls but even on the ceilings. There are huge pillars which you can see. Each pillar may be weighing a couple of tons. Normal human beings can't carry that kind of a structure. If you go to even some of the ancient ruins in England or any other place, you will find that huge stones were buried. These stones are such huge ones. If you go to South Peru, you will find the Nazca lines. They are talking about huge beings. In India also, in the temples, you will find there are lots of people. Lots of creatures who are shown as massive creatures. So now I want you to think that can this be an impossibility? No, it is possible. Even in the other literature, you will find that there is a mention about these kind of creatures. I'm calling them creatures because we don't know how to name them. And science is not even endorsing them. Though there are huge books and manuals written on them, but nobody acknowledges them. So, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakasha were huge creatures. They were beyond the human understanding. Each of them were so massive that the elder brother because first there is somebody who is born first and then there is a second born. The reason is because both births don't happen simultaneously, they happen one after the other. So the elder one is Hiranyakashyap and the younger one is called Hiranyaksha. Everybody is afraid of Hiranyakashyap because he is a very vicious person. Again, like I said, person, but he is not a person, he is a demon. So, and he is unafraid of anybody. Right from childhood, no, he is not afraid of anything in the world. Now, even in our normal life also, when you have a baby, if you do not show fear to the baby, and you do not allow the baby to understand all these kind of pitfalls in life, then the baby, when he grows up into a young person, you will find that his belief systems are different. Think about Gautam Buddha. When he was born as Siddhartha, he had no idea about death, old age and everything because it was not shown to him. I hope you get the point. In a similar fashion, you will find that Hiranyaksha or Hiranyakashyap were never shown any fear. They were told not to be afraid of anybody. So this is what childhood can make us. So right from the beginning, you can have this kind of a nature built inside of you. And then it grows. So Hiranyakashyap and Hiranyaksha were unafraid. They were not exposed to something which is called God. Though their parents were, deities kind of, they were sages and all, but yet they were not exposed to it. So for them it did not matter. For them, whether they are talking about hell or heaven or earth, for them everything was the same. And on top of it, Lord Brahma, who was the kind of a grandfather to them also, an ancient, he had also given a benediction that nothing is going to happen to them. So they were unafraid. So Hiranyakashyap was unafraid of everybody. And he could control the planetary systems. Like I said, after I finish every time, I will give you an in-depth explanation of what it means. So let us first see how this works. Hiranyaksha was ready to satisfy his elder brother. There is always this, sibling, this thing, where the elder brother is a protective person of the younger brother. And the younger brother wants to show, I am capable of doing anything. It's a very common thing. And that is why he used to be a little bit more forward in his approach, knowing fully well that my elder brother is there, he will handle the situation. So he was always trying to, satisfy the elder brother with whatever work that he is doing. So the younger one, he took a club, Gada. And he traveled everywhere in the universe, just trying to please his elder brother. Hiranyaksha's temper was difficult to control. This is anger based. He had anklets of gold tinkling around his feet. He was adorned with gigantic garlands, and he rested his huge mace on one of his shoulders. So here is a description of Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha was a huge being with a mace on his shoulder, and because he was the king's son, kind of a very rich family. Remember, his grandfather was the boss of the whole universe. I hope you know that. Okay, and he was also blessed by the Lord, so he had gold and all these kind of ornaments, and he was going around trying to capture literally everybody, threatening everybody with just his anger. His mental and bodily strength, as well as the boons conferred upon him, had made him proud. He feared death at the hands of no one, and there was no checking him. The gods therefore were seized with fear at the very sight, and they hid themselves even as a snake hides themselves for fear of Garuda. Now this is something which happens with human beings as well. When power goes to the head of a person and they feel the strength, when somebody bows down to them, you will find that people bow down to people who are powerful, strength. They have a lot of, there are lots of politicians in the world who are like that. Like Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashyap, there are politicians. So naturally, the whole world was bowing down to them, and they take advantage of the situation. And they already have a boon from the Lord that nobody can defeat them. When you have a boon like that, and when you have a godfather like your elder brother, naturally you will be unafraid of anybody, isn't it? And this is something which, when you have fear of something or somebody, you will not attempt that thing. Have you noticed children, when they are shown fear, they will not want to do anything. Then there are children who can eat anything. I have seen children who have not bothered to eat anything from the ground also. Even living creatures, they are willing to eat it. It's not a problem, because for them, it is nothing but creepy, crawly stuff is also food. So, they are not afraid. So, here you will find that Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashyap, they were unafraid of anything. On the contrary, everybody was afraid of them. And because they instilled fear in the minds of everybody around, everybody was subservient to them. They were bowing down to them because they feared death. There are great dons in this world, people who, can threaten you. Like in the world of Mumbai and various other places, there are these great people who rule the areas, the territories. They collect money from people, extortion and other things. A phone call from their side can be very detrimental to anybody. You have to give me so much of money, otherwise we will hunt you down. Everybody is afraid of death, isn't it? And this, in our world, in India, we say supari. It's like that. So, there are lots of people in this world who do that. When I was in Mumbai growing up, I have seen this personally with my own eyes. And these are very, very dangerous creatures. They are very dangerous because they can do whatever they feel like. They have henchmen around them. And literally everybody is afraid. And because of that, you will succumb to whatever they say. And this is very common. So here it is being said that even gods were afraid of them. The gods were seized with fear at their very sight. But just looking at Hiranyaksha, they were very scared. And they hid themselves even as the snakes hide themselves in fear of Garuda. On not finding Indra and other demigods who were previously being intoxicated with power, the chief of the Daityas, seeing that they had all vanished before his might, roared loudly. Now, you see the whole place is empty because everybody has run away. You know, this is again a very strange phenomenon which happens where during the time of Mahabharata, Arjuna used to go from one area to the other, performing Ashwamedh Yagya. And the kings, as he passed various kingdoms, the kings were afraid of him. And they would surrender very easily. And they would say that, okay, we will pay you a certain amount so that you don't capture us. This is very common. Even during the times of Aurangzeb or Shivaji Maharaj, it was the same. After the coming of British in India, they also did the same thing. They were very much knowing that these people are afraid. And it is very easy to leverage that. Across the world, this has happened. Okay? You will find that any country, anywhere in the world, you will find that there are people who are afraid. Today, name any European country where people are not afraid. Every European country is afraid because of the number of people entering there and threatening literally their normal life. Isn't it so? Just the thought itself that there is someone like that is very difficult. A person brandishing a big sword in the middle of the road can be very detrimental to our own life. So you will find that recently, in the middle of the road, somebody was cutting across in a signal. One person got out of his bike and he had a very big knife in his hand. And the entire population over there was afraid of him. This is very common. In the similar fashion, you will find that when Hiranyaksha goes to different places, people have already emptied their kingdom and gone away, including the gods. Oh, such a powerful entity like Indradev is afraid. Alright? Now, after returning from the heavenly kingdom, the mighty demon who was like an elephant in wrath, for the sake of sport, dived into the deep ocean which was roaring terribly. Do you remember the scene when all this was happening? These oceans were also in turmoil. The sky was in turmoil. There was dust storms all over the place. Everything was in a mess. Okay. Now, because everything was in a mess, even the oceans were upset. So they were raising big waves, and the water was very bad. You will find the fishes were dying and so on and so forth. So Hiranyaksha, after he has captured the heavenly world, he says, now it's time for me to go and rule over the netherworld also, which is below the sea. So what does he do? He looks at the sea and he says, oh, here is another place which I can go and capture. And he goes over there. On his entering the ocean, the aquatic animals who formed the host of Varuna were stricken with fear and ran far away. Thus Hiranyaksha showed his splendor without dealing a blow. You can imagine how this works. The moment he entered the water, it's like a big shark, or a big fish coming over there. What happens? All the other fishes run away from there, isn't it? Something similar like that happened. The moment Hiranyaksha entered the waters, the entire sea kingdom, that is there, all the fishes and every small creature, disappeared in front of his eyes. And they gave way to him. Moving about in the ocean for many, many years, the mighty Hiranyaksha smote the gigantic wind-tossed waves again and again from his iron mace and reached Vibhavari, the capital of Varuna. So, in the oceans, he was ruling the oceans for many, many years. So, every creature in the ocean was subservient to him. And being subservient, now is a time for him to go and rule over Varundev's kingdom. Varundev is the lord of the seas. Okay? Like you have Aquaman, something like that. So you will find that now he wants to go and rule over the oceans. And he takes up his iron mace and visits the kingdom of Vibhavari, which is the capital of Varuna. Vibhavari is the home of Varuna, lord of aquatic creatures and guardians of the lower regions of the universe, where the demons generally reside. There Hiranyaksha fell at Varuna's feet like a low-born man, and to make fun of him, he said with a smile, "Give me battle, O Supreme Lord." Now look at his arrogance. He goes and he meets Varundev over there in the sea, in his kingdom. Varuna is sitting in his throne, and Hiranyaksha goes over there and bows down to him. He is mocking him actually. I'm sure you have seen in recent times lots of these kind of people, they mock the other ones, the weak ones. It is very easy to mock a weak person. It's not easy to mock a stronger person. Most of the time you will find that these kind of bullies are there. They will deliberately say, "Okay, please, I am bowing down to you." But they are not actually doing that. They are very serious. And they are making fun of this person, telling them that you are such a useless person, I can with just one flip, I can take over your entire kingdom. That is what he meant. So he bows down to Varundev and says, "Can you fight with me?" Okay. And what does Varundev say? So we are doing verse 28. "You are the guardian of an entire sphere and the ruler of the wide fame. Having crushed the might of arrogant and conceited warriors, and having conquered all the Daityas and the Danavas in the world, you once performed a Rajasuya sacrifice to the Lord. So now think about what is being said over here. Hiranyaksha is telling Varundev, in the past, you had done these kind of things. You had mocked the gods and the demons and every other person, the Rakshasas and the Daityas, everybody. And you had challenged them to a battle, isn't it? Everybody was afraid of you. And they all bowed down to you and succumbed to you. So in a similar fashion, now I have come in front of you, and now I am going to bow down to you and ask you for a battle. See, I have fought with all these Daityas and Danavas and all that. I am also like that. So can you fight me? If you fight me, then I will understand that, okay, you have the gumption and the guts to fight me. But is that how it is? Thus mocked by the enemy, whose vanity knew no bounds, the worshipful Lord of the waters waxed angry. But by dint of reason, he managed to curb the anger that had sprung up in him, and he replied, "O dear one, we have now desisted from warfare, having grown too old for combat." Now here is Varundev. He is seething with anger. Somebody has challenged him. Hiranyaksha has challenged him. And you know how these people are. If you challenge somebody, that person is seething with anger. They may not show you, but fear has overtaken them. Always fear is far more powerful than anger. You should know this. You can't get angry with a person who is very fearful. Though anger will be there, you will put it inside your body and subdue it. And you will try to pander to this person. This idea about anger and the way we work in this world is so common, isn't it? Now today, if you have somebody in the world who is telling you that I can do this and I can do that, though you are very angry, but you are afraid to even raise your voice. You can be angry like nobody's business. Somebody is taking over your property. Somebody is taking over your land. You are very angry. But if that is to happen, the other person is very strong and powerful. Can you even object to that kind of a person? In India, there are lots of these government bodies. They take over an entire area, saying that we want to do development over here for the purpose of, say, railways and this and that. Suddenly one fine day they will take out a notice saying that, oh, this whole land will belong to us. When I was a kid, I have seen this happen in front of my eyes. The government came up with something which is called ULCA. It is called Urban Land Ceiling Act. This happened when I was a kid. According to the ULCA, a person can only occupy this much amount of land and not more than that. If it is more than that, you have to hand it over to the government. Many companies can get nationalized. You know what nationalization means? One day there will be a ruling that this now company belongs to the government and you are finished. There is a company called Air India. I'm sure you have heard of this. And there was a bank called Central Bank of India. Many Indians know about this. One fine day, the government decided Air India belongs to the Indian government. And Central Bank of India, and they had two more banks, They now belong to the government, they are nationalized. Imagine the amount of business they were doing. Air India was the only carrier in India, the airlines, in olden times, that belonged to the house of Tatas. Central Bank belonged to the house of Tatas. These were industrialist people. And one day, the government nationalized both these things and the thing was over. Can you do anything? Though you may be seething with anger, but can you challenge that? You will find that you can't do anything about it because it's something which a bully can do. So government companies are like that. Similarly, there were people who could take an entire swath of land saying that this now belongs to me. Who is there to challenge me? When that happens, you are a small fry over there. Nobody cares for you. You lose it. Does it happen to everybody? Of course, it happens to everybody. You will find that today you may be the person who is running the house, but tomorrow there will be someone who will come and top you, and you will be afraid of that person. It can happen. This is very common in this world. So here also the demon has taken charge. And Varundev is very apologetic about the whole thing. He says, I have to curb my anger. I can't show the anger to this demon. Why? Because if I show him anger, he can crush me. I can die. Doesn't that sound fishy to you? Can anybody kill the god of the ocean? No. Think, even in the mythological world, there is the god Thor. Thor, he carries the hammer with him. Can Thor be killed anywhere? I don't think so. He's a god. Or his brother. Nobody can kill him. Because they are gods. Whether the god of fire, whether it's any other god, nobody can kill gods. The gods are all powerful, but yet they are afraid. Can you imagine that? The demons are afraid on one side, that's a different story. But gods are afraid of demons? Doesn't that sound very fishy to you? So now, here is Varundev, the Lord of the Seas, saying that, though I am angry with this person, but I can't show the anger. And he says to him, how can I fight? I've become very old now. Can a god become old? No. And yet he says, I have become old. Now he is praising him and saying, you are so skilled in war that I do not see anyone else but the most ancient person, Lord Vishnu, who can give satisfaction in battle to you. Therefore, O chief of the Asuras, approach him, whom even heroes like you mention with praise. So Varundev is a little smart. He says, you know what? I am a weakling. I am a poor old man. What is the point of fighting me? You should fight an enemy who is equivalent to you, greater than you. You can challenge that enemy, isn't it? So it is like this. In olden times, there is something which is called protection, which in today's day and age also is there. A very interesting phenomena happened in one day, yesterday. Last week, 3 countries signed a deal. 3 countries signed a deal. One is Saudi Arabia, one is Turkey, and the third one is Pakistan. So if anybody attacks Pakistan, it means they are attacking the sovereignty of these three other, all the three put together. Are you getting it? So if India attacks Pakistan, then what happens? The sovereignty of Saudi Arabia and Turkey is also affected. So they can send their army, their navy, their air force to fight with India. So what did India do? They called the king of United Arab Emirates, UAE, one of the richest nations in Middle East, and the king of that country came to India. He came and in 100 minutes he signed a deal with India. Anybody fighting India will now have to fight UAE. That is Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah and those other places. So it is a countermeasure against Pakistan, isn't it? So this is how the game of politics is played. UAE and Israel and many other nations will be together. So there can be a deal signed like that. There is always a countermeasure. Something similar like this happened when the Indian government was taxed 50% duties for buying oil from Russia. The US put 50% tax on the regular goods which were being imported from India. Now nobody knew what other thing was happening over there. It is only in January that the world came to know that India has also taxed United States for the lentils which we are buying from there. So the lentils coming to India are now taxed very highly. So the farmers in United States are not able to cope up with it. So it is called a countermeasure. You are going to do something so that it affects. So the equations are balanced. So this is nothing but world politics. You are doing something so that you can use it in counter manner. You can counter that thing. So now the dals which are coming from USA are taxed very heavily in India. So the US people are saying, how can you tax it so much? Well, the same logic is valid. When we are exporting to US, why are you taxing our goods? This is something which happens. But you require a strong country to do that. You require a Varundev to counter it, isn't it? So when you have a smart person like Varundev countering the objection of Hiranyaksha, you know very well where this is heading. The Polish ex-president was in India yesterday. He was welcomed very nicely. And there was a meeting with our external affairs minister. In that, the Polish president, vice president says to India, you should not buy anything from Russia. You are supporting the war in Ukraine and all those things. So what did Mr. Jaishankar do? He said, my dear sir, you are supporting our enemy Pakistan with arms, ammunitions and money. When you are doing it in my backyard, do you think I am doing a countermeasure also? I am bothered about my own safety. And who are you to tell me this? Because you are doing exactly what you are not supposed to do. You are encouraging my enemy next door. That is not a done thing. So this is how the whole world works. Here also it's the same thing. You may think that it happened in ancient times. No, sir, it is happening even today. So Varaha, so the avatar which is going to affect, the introduction is now being given over here. Who can counter Hiranyaksha? So here you find the Lord of the oceans or the seas, Varundev, is saying, I am an old man. What is the point of fighting with me? Go and fight that big person over there. And then you will be highly satisfied if you can defeat him. So, Varuna continued, on reaching him, you will be rid of your pride at once and will lie down in the field of battle surrounded by dogs for eternal sleep. It is in order to exterminate wicked fellows like you and to show his grace to the virtuous that he assumes his various incarnations like the Varaha. So this is a very ominous warning being given to Hiranyaksha. He says, don't try to show me your strength. I am under the grace of the Lord Vishnu. I am also a part of his avatar. For idiots like you, I just need to tell you that you go and fight him. He's my boss. He will take one avatar which will, make you eat the dust. And you will lie down in the battlefield, like a small dog. And he can kill you in an instant if he wishes to. So in this chapter, we are understanding that Hiranyaksha has gone to challenge the Lord of the oceans, Varundev, and Varundev doesn't fight him. On the contrary, he tells him, why don't you go and fight the Vishnu avatar? And for your sake, this avatar is going to take shape now. That avatar is called the Varaha avatar. It's a boar avatar. You know what a boar is, no? A wild boar. He says that avatar is sufficient for killing you and making you eat the dust. So go and fight him. So we have come to the end of verse 31 of chapter 17 from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Part 2, the victory of Hiranyaksha. And tomorrow we will do the next chapter where there is a battle between the boar and Hiranyaksha. So we will stop over here for today. Record.